good stuff.
Now, Rupert, we are going to be talking about the new series of Silk before long.
Right.
But before we do, let's see you in action in Tuesday night's episode.
Oh, right.
Here we are.
Very good. Well, Rupert, in the first series, you and Maxine Peake were vying to become a Queen's Counsel. You're working for her now, aren't you, in this series?
Yeah, I'm her junior in that bit. I am. I mean, I'm not working for her. I still have my own cases and things, but sometimes if she's doing a big case, like in the first episode, I come in as her junior.
Does she have a bigger wig than you?
She has a bigger wig and a silkier gown.
Is there a bit of competition there with that?
No, I actually don't. The silk gear isn't. I prefer the normal barrister gear. I mean, it's hard to work those wigs, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's very hard to look good in those wigs.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about it in a bit. But it's not easy becoming a real-life Silk, as Simon Bozeman has found out.
For the last 4 centuries, this very grand and very British ceremony has marked one of the highest accolades in the legal profession. And for Kate Blackwell, it's the proudest day of her life.
I'm thrilled to have had this recognition and to be able to receive this honour.
After 18 years working as a criminal barrister, she's about to be appointed to the prestigious position of Queen's Counsel, or QC.
I, Catherine Elizabeth Blackwell, do so solemnly declare.
Lawyers who reach this very senior position are commonly known as silks.
Barristers have praised Silks, highly praised it, saying that it's a very realistic portrayal of the criminal bar system. Would you agree with that? And how do you make it so realistic? Have you got legal specialists on set?
Well, Peter Moffat used to be a barrister. Peter Moffat who wrote it.
Yeah.
So he understands that world. We do have somebody who is a barrister working in the courts with us, telling us, where we should be sitting and all that kind of thing. But I think the thing that we try and get right more than anything else is the relationship between the barristers and the clerks in the chambers, really.
Yeah.
Because the whole way the court works is a far more laborious process than we're able to.
Grammatically, everything's got to be written down.
Yeah, everything's got to be written down. Yeah. And when I went to court and watched some trials, it was a very slow process. It didn't make for good drama.
Now, amazingly, your next door neighbour is a Silk. So did she give you good feedback then on the first series?
Yeah, I'm not. You know what? I'm not even sure if she's seen it.
All right.
She hasn't talked to me about it, and I don't want to ask. So, but if she has, she hasn't mentioned it to me.
Right.
I like to think that it's going down well, and clerks really like it as well, which I think is,
That's right. You must have learned quite a lot of the jargon, though, by now.
Yeah, I can't remember it now, but it is. You do get the script, and there's lots of this short terminology that they use, which we have to ask what it means a lot of the time.
Yeah. Do you think, are you going to stick with Silk? Are you going to stick with that? Because you were happy to leave Spooks, weren't you, after 4?
So, well, we'll see how it goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even know if they're going to make more, or people have to watch it for us to make more, really. So, it's a great show to work, and I love working with the cast. It's so much fun, and I love Peter Moffat. I've worked with him quite a lot. So, it's...
Well, Whitechapel was also a huge success, and you were working with one of your best mates on that,
Yes.
Phil Davis,
Yes.
and he now is in Silks, in a very different role.
We were also in North Square together, which was Peter Moffat's first TV drama, which was about lawyers about 10 years ago. So, Phil and I know each other quite well.
Yeah. So just going back to Whitechapel, why do you think that was such a success?
Well, I mean, when it first came out, I don't know if you remember, the first episode came out when there was a big snowstorm, and everyone was snowed in, and they had nothing to do apart from watch
telly.
I think it's because it's sort of the cop genre meets the horror genre. Which is entertaining. You've got also the light-hearted banter between the police, and the relationship between me and Phil just works, I think, and I think those kind of things they either work or they don't work, and I think between me and him we have a sort of an unspoken language when we're acting together, and we know what the other person's going to do, and we sort of can work with each other. But I think it's down to the writers and their brilliant ideas, really, and this great gothic feel, and we're sort of giving London a new life again, and people love seeing London in that way, the old London, the hidden London. We get to film in places you don't normally go to.
And you have been involved, as we've been saying, in lots of hits, but is it true that originally you didn't even want to be an actor?
I didn't, well, I was
You had
very
to be
young.
persuaded.
I was very young, and both my parents were actors, and I wasn't sure if I should do it because it would just be following in their footsteps. But a teacher at school came up to me when I was about 13 and said, they're auditioning for The Tempest, Penry-Jones, I think you should go and see them. And kind of
Quite a good impression, that. It's quite a good
But
impression.
how would we know that? Well, we've got a special message for you.
Oh, really?
Surprise, surprise!
Yes, surprise, surprise. From that very
From
teacher,
Jan Piggott.
Dr. Piggott.
Oh,
Yes,
Here we go.
years ago at Dulwich College, you were the winner of the lower school reading competition. I was the adjudicator and heard hundreds of contributions over the years, but only one clings to my memory, your rendering of Gerald Durrell. To this you brought perfect timing, colour, warmth and humour, and you could have heard a pin drop. I thought, here is a star.
There you go. What about that, eh?
Oh, he was such a lovely man. I'll never forget
He
it.
sings it. He really
And all the people from my year at that school, we all think very fondly of him. He was great.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, you can see Rupert in Silk next Tuesday, 15th May, 9 p.m. on BBC One, and I'm sure Dr. Piggott will be glued. Now, people, of course, made all sorts of sacrifices in World War II.
Yes, Dan Snow tells the story of how an entire village gave up their homes for the war effort, and they still haven't got them back.
And won an OBE for bravery. He was basically in charge of, he was a doctor, he was in charge of the medics, so it was one of the most dangerous things. People said, I spoke to a vet from that battle, and he said people weren't worried about dying, they were worried about being injured. That was the thing, because once you got injured, you couldn't get help, because nobody could put their heads above.
Yeah. God, you must be incredibly proud of him then.
Yeah, well, he's no longer with us, sadly.
Yeah.
It was incredible when I found this out.
Yeah.
He never talked about it.
Really?
Didn't he?
No.
Yeah, definitely. Well, time now to go back to Richard Hammond, who's live on the Masai Mara. Now, Richard, we've seen some incredible footage on Sunday's programme, thanks to all the cameramen who are working on Planet Earth Live. But you have got a gentleman with you called Jackson, who I believe you couldn't have done it without him, could you? What does Jackson do?
No, very much not. Well, he's a legend. Here he is, Jackson Lasay. You don't mind me saying legend, do you, Jackson? He is Maasai, and he knows this country in a way that you and I would really struggle to understand. It's staggering, amazing to hang out with.
So that very simplified map that you're standing in front of, that's for your benefit, not for Jackson's benefit then?
Yeah, Jackson knows every inch of this place, every pride of lions. He's been following them. He grew up with them, really, so he knows them all.
And are you kind of initiating him into the Maasai tribe then, Jackson? What kind of things are you doing with him?
I'm leading him here so that he can understand the geography of this place, and he can actually help us read these things live through my mind.
Wow!
That's the kind of thing he says all the time. It's never relaxing hanging around with Jackson. You have to really think. But it's amazing fun. Just to hang around with somebody and see things, look at things differently, just read the landscape, see where animals have been and know why. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you'll be on in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So what can we expect on tonight's show?
Well, tonight we're going to update you on all those stories that people have contacted us ever since they went out on Sunday night. So yes, Mojo the lion, Julia will be talking about those gorgeous black bear cubs that are just emerging from hibernation into a world that they're unfamiliar with, following the story of her grey whales. And also we'll be putting some flesh on the bones as to where we are. Remember, this is a critical time of year for all the animals we're following. So here in the Masai Mara, all these lions are having a really tough time. Their cubs really struggling, their parents trying to find them food. So we'll update you on how Mojo's doing and just continue to unfold their daily dilemmas every day at what is an absolutely critical time of year for the animals we're following all around the world. We'll be going off to Peru to see some giant otters as well. And they have an encounter with a caiman that you simply won't believe. These are otters fighting a caiman that's about 6 meters long. It blows the mind.
Absolutely incredible. Cannot wait to see that, Richard. And BBC One will be with you in a matter of minutes. So get yourself sorted and good luck with the broadcast. I hope it all goes well.
Yeah, and a big thank you as well to Rupert, of course. Silk starts next Tuesday. And thanks as well to our Maasai cultural arts dancers. Don't miss Planet Earth Live next, right here on BBC One.
Yes, tomorrow we're going to be joined by the fabulous Felicity Kendall, who was one of the dancers on Strictly. I wonder if she's any good at Kenyan dancing. Well, we'll find out. Until then, we'll leave you with them. See you now. Bye-bye.
So to Kenya, catching up with our lion